every bottle.
We are live, gentlemen.
And what do we have in our glasses?
Wine.
We have wine.
Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day, everybody.
It is a Chuck. It is
This is
Labor
us.
Day.
I didn't even think of that, but this is
We're
Labor
working,
Day.
but we're working.
I've been laboring all day.
Yeah, and he's been laboring all day. And he's about
So
done worn
to
out.
all the hard workers out there,
All right,
who support
all the
us
hard workers.
and everybody else in the world,
Yes.
it's a challenging time for workers and businesses because it's really hard to find enough people these days.
Because I guess a lot of people can just sit around and do whatever.
I don't know if we should say
I don't know
that.
how that works.
I just think we have more need in the area than there are actually people to fill the need. Really, that's what it comes down to. But anyway, let's not go there. Let's talk about wine.
Let's talk about wine. And what's this selection? Because this is kind of an interesting selection. I don't know who came up with this idea, but oh, it was me, wasn't it? Elderberries. So this is all about elderberries.
So what are we doing
because
drinking this?
This has got elderberry flowers in it.
There you go.
So
There's
this
no way
is not the elderberry berries, but this has elderberry flowers in it. This is our wine called Flower Power.
We're not going to. Oh, wait. You're jumping ahead.
I know. I'd like to
Let's
talk
talk about
about
the
wine.
theme, and then we'll get into
How about I
this.
just sip some wine?
Okay. You sip some wine. I'm going to go see who's here, and then
Excellent.
And then you can talk about
Excellent.
all the flower power.
So,
you want.
were you pressing elderberry
So-
wine today? Was that what you're working on all day?
So we're going to see who's joining us today. So welcome, folks. It's another Monday, and we're off to a good start. And we have and Matt's joined us. Thanks, Matt.
Excellent. Hey, Matt.
And Janice has joined us. Good Monday afternoon, everybody. Ready to be educated. Well, we're going to educate you today on elderberries because 'tis the season for elderberries, and we'll get into that in a second. So a couple ground rules for anybody who's new to the broadcast. If you're just joining us, please make yourself known in the comments so we know you're here. We can say hello. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments and we will answer your questions just as soon as we have an opportunity. And if for some reason we don't answer your questions during the broadcast, we'll answer them at the end when we're finished. We'll type our answers to you at the end. And also, if you're joining us on YouTube, please subscribe to the page right there. There's a subscribe button. If you subscribe to our page, you'll be notified whenever we go live on YouTube, which is every Monday at 5:30, and maybe an occasional oddball other time, like when we're riding a triple bike around Squam.
Yeah.
You never know. And for those on Facebook, there is a little bell somewhere on your screen. If you click that bell, you'll again be notified whenever we go live, if you care to know. Again, every Monday at 5:30, and the occasional ride around Squam. We're actually on a sailboat or up a mountain,
On some motorcycle
done stock
somewhere.
skiing. Who knows? We go live all the time at random times. So,
Have you ever done a Facebook Live with us from motorcycles? Have you done that yet? I know you
don't know that we
videoed
did.
some things, but I
No,
don't
we
know if you went live.
I don't know. I don't think we did. I think that might have been before.
We've got
before we
something
really
on the future horizon here to do.
So tune in to Facebook Live and you'll learn about our next motorcycle ride, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Gary's joined us too. Hi, Gary.
Excellent. Hey, Gary.
Glad you could be here. So that's good. I think I've covered all the bases. And let's talk about elderberries.
Okay, that sounds good. The reason that I suggested elderberries for today is because of multiple reasons. One, they're all coming ripe in my backyard. So I was picking some elderberries yesterday, and a while ago, the flowers were out all over the place, and those went into our Flower Power wine. But most importantly, we have a vat of elderberries fermenting right now downstairs. So when wine is fermenting, and this is true whether it's Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon or whatever, a wine that's being made from the whole grapes on the skins. White wines are made without the skins, but red wines are made with the skins. And during that fermentation process, the skins rise to the top. The CO2 that's produced during the fermentation creates this cap. And the very top of the cap is not in contact with the liquid, with the wine. So the typical winemaking procedure with red wines is to punch down that cap. And I do that twice a day. So this morning when I came in, I punched down the elderberries and got them back into the solution so the liquid is in contact with them and break up that cap. And then just before the show, I did it again. So twice a day, you punch down the wine. And this is very typical. All sorts of grape wines are made this way. Some people will punch it down only once a day. Some will do it 4 or 5 times a day.
It's really about flavor, right?
It's about flavor. It's about
texture.
Some of the things that you can pull out. There are different types of punch downs. Some people will use a metal tool. Some people will use their feet. They literally clean their feet really well, and they have they have a bar that goes across the top of the tank.
Oh, yes.
And they sit on the bar. They're usually strapped in if it's a big tank, so they don't fall in.
That would be
and
better.
then they step with their feet to break it up, and feeling that that's a very natural way of doing it.
It is a natural way, but I have done some reading on that, and there is actually a significant number of people who have died over the years doing that very
falling
thing.
into a vat or passing out from the CO2.
Well, if they're falling in, if they're sitting on top of a large vat and they accidentally fall in, as soon as they go below the level of the vat, they're in a CO2 rich environment, and they don't have long to live. And let's not want to bring things down.
We don't do that here.
Just
so you know.
Yeah,
But I just thought that was an interesting.
It is.
It's more of a historical fact. It doesn't happen. It may happen in modern times. I don't know.
Because I've seen some modern wineries that do it, and the guys are strapped in, so they're on a safety hook.
I would imagine because
they can't fall.
It is a thing of the past when they didn't have the same tools, they didn't have the same techniques, and they didn't understand what was going on with the gases.
Right.
And it resulted in some early winemakers early passing.
Wow.
So that's very sad.
It's really interesting. Some people prefer to punch down the wine as opposed to pumping over the wine. So the other way to do it is to use a pump and pull the liquid off the bottom of the tank and splash that over the top of the cap and break it up that way. And on really large containers, that's really the most practical way to do
It's really
it.
the only
Because
way
the cap is really thick.
super large.
Yeah, well, they have these hydraulic feet. So on really big bats, in some of these high-end, you know how high you can jump with hydraulic feet?
No, I want to.
No, they literally have like a crane-like thing, a hydraulic. It's on rails, and it comes over, and the worker has the device, and this foot, sterile metal, is punching down, so pushing it down, and there's a different process.
My guess is that there is a difference between the rather radical way of pushing that fruit, jamming that fruit back into the liquid versus just pouring liquid over the top and letting it seep through.
It's different.
Creates quite a difference in the way the components are extracted into that.
Yeah.
So I get that. That seems to make sense. What I don't understand is we're talking about all this stuff about punch down and we're drinking a white wine. What's wrong with this picture?
Okay, so I got down the track. I'll talk about the other one for Lake House Red. That's what the elderberries are all about right now. So we're starting off with a white wine because this is more delicate. So I wanted to start with this one.
Okay.
It's a white wine. This is a mead called Flower Power that we make
We
here.
had this on the show not too long ago.
I know.
What was the topic for that?
I forget, but it's good.
It was just
I like
recent.
the opportunity to
This
sip it
is.
again.
I think this
It's
is one
really
of your nicest
fascinating.
meads.
Sure.
I love this mead.
It's delicious. It really is.
So this is made without any punch downs at all, rightfully to point out, Bob. So this is done using a technique that brewers use, making a more floral hoppy beer. Like that IPA you may have had before the show, had some of those, that dry hop characteristics. So
How'd you know I had an IPA?
after the beer, well, I had a sip of it when you weren't looking, so that's how I knew.
Damn, lost it again.
So anyway, this technique to infuse the delicate floral aspects of a hop cone, so the flower of a hop plant. You take a finished beer and you stuff a bunch of hops into it.
Yeah.
And the new juicy New England IPAs are juicy, are hazy, because they jam so many hops
Oils
in there.
from the
The oils and the hops. They don't, it's kind of like oil and water. They don't mix in the liquid very well. And oftentimes at the end of a hazy IPA, you can rinse the can a few times and you still get sediment coming out. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
And it's not yeast, it's hop, fragments and oils and stuff like that. Do that next time, a real hazy IPA.
Orange juice.
I mean, I
pulp.
have found the
Orange
sediment.
juice pulp. There's no orange juice pulp. But some hops,
If you're
some
here
of the
for the
New
beer
Zealand
show, you'll
hops
get
have
the
some
reference.
real orange character.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm talking about hopping a beer is that this wine has hops in it. And it has elder flowers.
Yes.
So they come together here, and it's all been infused in the same way of dry hopping a beer. So I took our 3 honey wine, Carolyn's favorite, our show mead, which is an early season wildflower honey,
100%
is fermented dry. And then I take elderflowers in one container, hops that I picked out of my backyard in another container, and I just put those flower cones into the liquid. This also has a batch with staghorn sumac. Remember making tea out of that one time?
Daylilies, right?
And daylilies.
Yeah.
So those 4 flowers went into this one. The next one that I have in the barrel right now doesn't have hops. It has what's the
From
the flowers here
tree
in town.
near my house here. The
Yeah,
locust.
locust, black
Yeah.
locust,
Yes.
black locust flower.
flower, yeah.
So that's the next flower power that's going to come out.
So some people may be familiar with elderflowers used in alcohol because a lot of people enjoy Saint Germain.
Saint Germain, yeah.
Is that a vodka? What is it? Saint Germain is billed as
That's a liqueur.
it's a liqueur.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's made again similar to you making this through
I think so. I think they
introducing
extract it.
They extract it
Sort
through
of
the
like a gin then.
yes.
It's kind of like a gin, but it's
It's extracted like a
it's
gin.
sweeter.
Sweeter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
used in mixed drinks. You don't drink it straight like you drink gin.
So
No, I think that a good ratio of gin to tonic is mostly gin, yes. But it's not just gin. I mean, that would be barbaric.
Right.
I kind of like that actually. Over just like an ice
Well, it
cube.
depends on the gin. Okay, so
I
yeah,
like
you're
that Bar Hill.
Well, we digress, don't we?
guys, I thought this was about wine.
We're talking about pleasing beverages.
Oh, okay.
Right,
And wine. Sorry, it's
infusion.
about wine.
And infusion.
So, but I wanted to get while you're on the flower thing. I did some poking around in Google this morning and looked at some of the other things about elderberries past, and elderberries actually have been considered a medicinal plant, not just fruit, a medicinal plant for thousands of years.
Yes.
It's certainly more popularized in the middle, like 1200, 1300, in the Middle Ages. Elderberries were considered very healthy for you. And if you look in the description for this episode, I've listed some of the ways in which early folks use the flowers for very specific purposes, the berries, and also the
roots.
bark and the roots and the leaves. But one cautionary tale, a couple things. Especially the bark, the leaves, and the stems are all quite poisonous. But as is often the case, a lot of poisonous things in small doses are very medicinal. So if used well, as they were in the past, they can be used for very medicinal purposes. And it is also, I found out that one particular elderberry, and I don't know how you know which one is which, but there's a particular elderberry that's quite a bit more poisonous than other elderberries.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we talk about not eating elderberries directly off the bush. And you can eat some in small quantity off the bush, which is fine.
I have done that.
Don't eat them off the bush from this particular type.
I have not.
It's in the description, so you can read about it. But I don't know the differences. If you boil them, any of them, then they don't create a poison that you
Or turn them into a pie like your brother Kent.
turn them into a pie, or turn them into alcohol.
Or fermenting. Fermenting is just
would
like
change them.
cooking.
Yeah. So it's not an issue with any of our products, but it would be an issue if you were using the elderberries in other ways. But the point is, elderberries are one of the healthiest growers here in the Northeast. If you're interested in elderberries, not just in wine, but elderberry syrup, and using elderberries in other ways, in products and ways to really.
I've had 3 different suppliers now that went into growing elderberries because of the health benefits.
Yeah.
Remember the guy in Maine, the organic grower, and he got into growing organic elderberries from the nutritional aspect of it, and that was really key. And I got really excited about him through reading about medicinal beers, medicinal things. This is a grower. That shot is from I think that's down in Arkansas.
It's in Arkansas. These 2 shots.
Yes. And I forget what his previous profession was, but his family owned a bunch of acreage, and he got very excited about the medicinal value of elderberries. And he produces
He grows those organically,
60,000 pounds of elderberries a year.
Wow, and how many do we
He's an
buy?
organic grower. What's that?
How many do we buy?
The largest crop we got from him yet is 1,500 pounds.
All right, so a small batch. But you know what's really
Small.
fascinating is this guy drives up here from Arkansas
Well,
every year.
he has about 30 people that he delivers to on the way.
And he personally, the owner of this farm, drives up here to deliver his elderberries. These are the bushes as they're beginning to grow. And if you're interested to know what they look like, this is
There's
the
the flower.
flower that we're talking about. It's a beautiful flower, actually.
It is beautiful.
And just a little closer up. So this is the flower that we actually picked to put in this wine.
That's what goes into this wine, yeah. And it makes a beautiful wine on its own, just as straight, not blended in the
does.
flower power.
And you know what? I get so many of those. I get daylily. I get some of that dusty character of the daylily, and I get elderberry. So it's really interesting. It does come through nicely into the wine. And this is the actual berry. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
And to give everybody a sense of scale, there you go with a spoon.
So yeah,
They're tiny.
So they're
tiny
tiny,
blueberries.
yeah. And the one that's actually the most volatile is the tiniest.
Oh,
The smallest. Yeah, that's what I.
Downstairs in the vat, they're really tiny this year.
Oh,
Well, we're
But
going to
he's an organic grower.
so
I'm
it doesn't
sure
matter.
he's, that was never being fermented.
Yeah, it's okay. So these are elderberries. So give you an idea of what elderberries are about.
I make a elderberry syrup with honey, and then I have that in my tea in the morning. Oh, we're split.
Yeah, look at
Seeing the
that.
side of myself at the same time.
Yeah, we should go back to the front view because we don't want to see that. There we
Let's
go.
do that.
Okay, so that was a little background.
That's great, Bob. Thank you.
Elderberries.
Yeah, it is a beautiful fruit, and I remember reading in Stephen Booner's book on medicinal beers, which covered meads and things like that.
yeah, right.
And just like you say, hundreds of years ago, people knew that and they would sort of worship this plant. It was the elder. It was a plant that you needed to pay respect to. You didn't just hack it down. and
Many
move it out of the way.
generations of people have been
You-
using this as a medicinal source.
You
This is-
respected this plant.
Yeah.
It was something that was healthy and nutritious and fit with everything else.
Yeah, and yet it can make you sick as well. So I mean, and that would
Make you sick.
certainly be something worthy of expertise and understanding, right? And knowing the difference between which parts to eat,
Right.
which parts to make teas out of and tinctures, and which
Like
parts
poisonous sumac.
to-
We have
Yeah,
staghorn
right,
sumac
right,
in
right,
here,
right.
not the poisonous sumac.
Yeah.
Because the poisonous one is those white berries, right?
So-
sumac.
Why don't we?
Yeah, we don't
moving
see
on.
them very often here. So for those who are interested, it's 43% of your daily value of vitamin C, 18% of vitamin
How much
B6,
do you-
and
how much-
12% iron for 100 grams served,
100 grams.
which is 70
That's
calories.
nice.
So it's pretty.
Wow, it's very intense. It's 4 times the antioxidant capabilities of a blueberry.
The blueberry, yeah, wow. Yeah, it's very rich in anthocyanins. Well,
So
however
let me
you
see.
pronounce that, I always get that one
I think
wrong.
wild blueberries are higher, though. They can be. And then aronia berries are another one, which are very,
That
very
was
high.
higher, yeah.
Let me go to see who's any questions from our audience. What
I'll look
is
for the next one.
Matt wants to know what is the other name for honeyberry? That's northern berry red.
That's a haskap, is what
Oh,
he's looking
for
for.
haskap. Okay.
Yeah. But we're
Haskap.
talking about elderberries today.
Yeah. Matt says, family day, 6 different meads and wines from Hermit Woods tonight. So you're digging in on the meads. Excellent,
Nice.
Matt.
Excellent.
And Janice says, this has nothing to do with the wine. with wine. Are Ken and Chuck wearing new colored shirts?
Well, he's got the short
They
sleeve
are.
one.
Look at that.
I've got the old one.
Janice,
We've had this
That is
before.
extremely
Jeez.
perceptive of you. This was the previous color, which
The brown one.
they no longer make. So we had to get new shirts, and we had to change the color. So yes, Ken and Chuck are wearing new colored shirts. Thank you for pointing that out. Matt says, and if so, when do we get them? Get what?
The shirts? I
No,
wonder if he's asking for the shirts or for the honeyberries or elderberries.
I don't know, Matt. You'll have to clarify.
Let us know. So I just opened up the Lake House Red.
Here, I'm going to switch back to the other camera here.
I haven't had this for a while.
It's, you know, I have to say, even with the elderflower, it's different from the last time I had it.
The Lake House Red is one that I've changed quite a bit over the past few years. And each vintage is a little different. I've struggled with balance. I've struggled with a couple of barrels that I ended up getting that were more burnt than I expected. And there's barrel number 25 actually that has a strong smoky component to it.
Yeah.
And my last vintage of Lake House Red got really smoky from this one particular barrel. This is the 18 vintage that we have today. And in fact, downstairs, what I'm fermenting right now are the elderberries that are going into the 2021 elderberry, or Lake House Red. So
This
that's
one.
that compound.
So that's why we're drinking.
That's
this
why
one,
we're drinking
because
Lake
it's
House Red.
one of the components, and I think an important component.
Oh, yeah.
of wine is elderberry.
Critical part.
Yeah, and you can taste the elderberry in this wine, definitely.
Well, it's such a great color, right? I mean, I think elderberry it's been used as dyes. It's used for winemaking, whatever. But it just has this beautiful, dark, rich red, burgundy, orange color. It's just fantastic.
Part of the color that's really interesting, and then in this wine, it's interesting when you try it to the elderberry next. This has quite a bit of blackberry in it. And
So
blackberry has
has
got a
that
very
orangey
brown
thing. Yeah,
color
yeah.
to it. Elderberry is usually more red.
More red,
This
right.
this salami, when I was tasting this, I'm going, wow, this is a really
Spice.
spicy wine. I gotta try some spicy salami,
That's
and
the one
it's
right there.
perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
This salami is from Fortuna in Vermont. Really great salami makers, all different kinds.
Wow, that's just
We sell it in the shop. Fortuna's sausage, and
Which one are you doing? The spicy one?
official
This
name.
one?
yeah. Try that one.
They're out of Manchester, Vermont. You should try them out. That's delicious with the
So the Lake House Red is a dry barrel-aged red wine made
long is
out
it in the barrel?
of. It's anywhere from about 12 months to 16 or 18 months, depending on the
Depending on the
vintage,
barrel.
depending on the spread of the barrels.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll have some of the wine in newer barrels, so there's more oak from those barrels, and other portions of the wine in older barrels that don't give as much oak flavor. And then some of it I'll even hold back into the tank itself, and then blend those in the end for the profile that we end up with in the glass. Trying to drive some complexity into the wine and yet still have some balance to it. So Lake House Red is a lot of blueberry and blackberry, a good amount of elderberry, and then a smaller percentage of raspberry, either red or black or both. This vintage 18, I believe, was the first vintage with black raspberry in it.
Black
But I like
raspberry
this- I like this one.
is also fantastic. What I like about how you balance the flavors in here is the elderberry is a very, very overpowering flavor. And I really love how this is balanced with the other fruit.
We're going there next. We're going with this. We're going full on elderberry.
full on
Well, it's
elderberry,
actually
yeah.
got a little blueberry in it, but it's mostly elderberry.
Yeah, so I mean, this is drinking really well for the 2018 Lake House Red is just fantastic. I had a little bit of Red Scare earlier today, and that also is super fantastic, but has no elderberry in it whatsoever.
That's right. Red Scare does not have any elderberry. And that's really what sets this wine apart from Red Scare, the lack of honey and the elderberry.
Yeah. And it makes
So I've been jumping around with some of the flavored pairings.
Ooh, what'd you find? You find another winner like that salami?
Actually, believe it or not, the goat cheese.
Really?
Because the goat cheese has a tang to it.
Yeah, and these wines, all these wines that have these raspberries,
acidity,
especially, they have
tang.
a tanginess to them.
So actually, of all of the things on the plate so far, the goat cheese I found goes best.
Is your
with
favorite with it?
elderberry. Yeah. And I didn't find the cheddar to go so well.
Yeah, I didn't care for the cheddar either. I
Because
tried
cheddar's
that. It's just,
creamier,
Yeah.
and it's not looking for that acidity.
Yeah.
So it didn't match as well with that. But the goat cheese with that nice. You should
I'm gonna try a little Lake House Red with the goat cheese.
It's remarkably good, actually. That's the magic right there.
Okay, so those of you at home that don't have goat cheese, come here and get some goat cheese.
Yeah. It's made in Vermont.
Oh, made in Vermont.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh yeah, I buy this all the time.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Oh, you're totally right.
Yeah. It's the best pairing on the plate.
Totally
Never would have guessed.
Blended. I didn't think so. I thought it was way too light.
Yeah.
I tried it with the flower power,
No.
and it was like there's nothing there, and
It's
that
got
goat
a
cheese,
nice
but it
tang.
lights up with the wine.
Yeah.
It's better with the wine.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really strange. You really have to experiment when it comes to food pairing.
I love when it happens.
Yeah.
When the stuff comes together. You know, you don't think it is. Did you try the horseradish?
Yeah, I did. It was okay actually. I didn't dislike it, but I don't think it wasn't a winning pairing.
How about is that mozzarella on there?
mozzarella? I'm thinking no on that.
I'm thinking no,
I think you're gonna go there. But try the horseradish. So this is a horseradish spread, like a cheese spread with horseradish. And I gotta find out where we get this. I haven't seen this yet in our deli.
Yeah, it would seem like so the elderberry wine itself is going to be stronger, more rich, more defined.
Not bad, but not nearly as good as that goat
So
cheese.
it will go with the more robust cheeses, the cheddar, the sharp cheddar, the horseradish.
Which one are you talking
We're talking about where we're going to.
Oh, I don't even have that in my glass yet.
Yeah,
so-
no, I don't either. We're still
either.
working on
We
it.
still
No.
on Lake House
Oh,
Red.
shoot. Well, what are we doing here?
Oh, that's right. The mozzarella?
Yeah, no.
Not at all.
Mozzarella's not good.
So this is elderberry. This is the elderberry one.
All right.
So this is really what we elderberry one.
I haven't honestly tried this for a couple
I just had it the other day.
And
I was
I've
so
had-
impressed by it.
I taste wine all the time downstairs, different vintages that are in barrel, in tank, and all this stuff.
wait till you
But I
taste
haven't had this.
Wait till you taste this. You're going to be so pleased. It's changing in the bottle.
So one of the things that's really interesting about these wines, and I'm sure it's the case with all red wines, I just have more experience with these now, is there are lots of times when I'm quite disappointed with the wine going into bottle. It's okay, I like it, but it seemed like it had so much more potential. And then I wait 6 months or a year and I'm like, wow, this has really come into exactly where I was hoping it would go. It just takes time. It's so weird. There's no way to sort of anticipate it.
I absolutely agree, and I want to add to that. I find this really interesting, but I drink our wines at different times, different seasons, different times of the day, different food combinations, and seriously, the wine tastes different all the time. The same wine tastes different all the time. It depends on when you're drinking it, what you're drinking it with, what time of day, what music you're playing. We talk about this all the time. You have to choose the right beverage for the right time and place.
Right.
And when you do, it's going to taste better simply because you chose it correctly for the right time
It's
and
like
place.
pairing it up with the goat cheese.
Yeah, pairing it with time, pairing it with experience is just as important as pairing it with food. I never thought of that before. That's a really good. That's a.
This
first.
is nice. This is really
Experience
come into
pairing.
itself. It's got this, what I like, there's got some of this old world
It does. That earthy.
character
Yeah.
to it. It's it's a very spicy, earthy wine. It always is. This is blended with a little bit of a blueberry wine as well.
Yeah. Well, it kind of needs to because elderberry is too strong.
On its own, it's really intense. Yeah. And it is the one fruit that I use the least amount of fruit per volume of wine that I create.
Wow.
So blueberries, I'll use 6 pounds per gallon of wine. Elderberries, I use 3.
Wow.
Half. And you still end up with
really
a
intense.
spicy, intense monster. It's just, in blackberries, I use 9 pounds.
Wow.
They don't add any water because they don't have as much going on. And so elderberries they're really tiny and really intense.
I just had a piece of the salami with the elderberry, and I found it goes better with the Lake House Red
I agree.
Yeah.
than it does the elderberry. Why? What changed?
I don't know, but I had the same experience. It was okay,
Yeah, it's not bad.
but not like the Lake House Red. Really, it was like perfect.
So I wonder what will happen when I try it with the goat cheese.
Oh, no way.
Right. Yeah. See.
I was guessing that the spicy horseradish cheese would be better
might
choice.
It has a little sour note to it.
Yeah, it has a little bit of sour. And what I found with this salami might be different from that is that it wasn't bad, but it brought out that kind of almost a bitterness in both of them, right? They just sort of capitalized on that.
That's what's interesting about wines is there are all of those things. There's bitterness, there's sourness,
Yeah.
and certain mouth chemistries, certain place or framework or whatever can enhance those or subdue them. And
So- it does not go as well with the goat cheese. What's this? Do you know the difference between these two?
This
Or are they the
this is
same?
a sharp cheddar,
What's that?
and I don't know. I didn't try that one, but that was definitely a sharp cheddar. So this horseradish is
Does that work?
maybe the winner.
Not as good with the cheddar.
No.
it's funny. I think it's that sourness. It brings
Yeah.
the sourness
It brings the
out.
sourness.
In
They
the-
did with the
in the
salami
wine.
too.
So how about cucumber?
Well, it's an earthy sort of wine, so maybe that will.
Or go
I
with
think
the
this is.
cucumber.
Yeah, I think that this is. It's not horseradish,
That's just weird.
but this is the best. This whatever this cheese
No
is.
cucumber.
No cucumber.
No cucumber. Yeah,
That'd be like red
I
wine with a
wouldn't go down
salad.
the
With
cucumber.
a vinaigrette salad.
So
or
I'm
something.
just going to say, of this selection on the plate, the meat is the only one that really went okay with this wine.
But that's it.
But that was it.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to see the brie.
I'm gonna try the brie.
I'm pretty sure you're going to have a fail on that. But I could be wrong, actually, because I was surprised.
You never would have
with
guessed the goat
Did
cheese.
you try this one?
No. Did you try that?
Yeah.
Is it good?
So this is a
That's
really.
the horseradish spread,
It's,
right?
it's something like that. It has like a Parmesan, so it's a really rich, creamy, dried cheese, and it's almost a little salty. And it actually, to me, was the best thing on this plate, that going with the elderberry.
Oh, you're right, Chuck. You're absolutely right.
Don't do the brie.
No.
Don't do brie.
I think you're right. The horseradish is the winner.
Yeah.
The horseradish spread is the winner with this wine. For sure.
Somehow that those worked out together.
I would put this with a pasta with a bolognese sauce,
You know-
a spicy pasta.
You know, one of
Like
the
a
things
fra
that I think
diavolo.
in the future, as time goes on, with a chef, with our explorations for foods,
Yeah.
would be really fun to dial in what are the things that work with a particular wine, and then explore that. Like the goat cheese went with Lake House Red. All right, what can you make out of goat cheese?
Right.
How can you put that into a
We
dish?
should
And that would
absolutely
be
do that
so
all the
much
time.
fun. It would be so great, and it would build a sort of a portfolio of what to consume food-wise while you're enjoying that particular wine,
And
and
we
you
can
know it's
give
going
much
to work.
better guidance to people in our deli about what to order with what food. So that's always been our goal, and we do that to some degree. There's been some nice selections made in the deli, but we're going to get better at it.
Just drink rosé. That's all we know. 'Cause that goes with
Everything. Goes with everything.
Remember that?
Yeah,
I actually heard a great podcast.
Phenomenal.
I was listening to one of the podcasts that we were referred to, and they absolutely said there was this really great podcast about barbecue in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And there were all these different wines they were attempting to pair with different types of things that you would barbecue. And the one that they always started with is rosé.
Okay.
If you have any doubt and you're having a barbecue in the summer, have rosé. It just goes with everything. It really does. It's amazing.
It's rosé is great.
What are you doing there, Chuck?
So I'm looking at the color
Of which one over which?
exactly because
Lake House Red on the right, elderberry on the left.
Yeah.
no, it's the
No?
other way around.
Other way around.
No.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. The other way around. Because that has the blackberries in it. And the blackberries have that orangish brick color to them.
I think
The Hermitage will do that too.
The elderberry is drinking really nice right now. And you know what? This is another one of those wines of yours that gets better and better and better with time.
Yeah.
This needs to lay down for, I think, 10 years.
Yeah.
It's got all the components to lay down for 10 years, and it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, I think so too. And not with cucumber.
Definitely not,
Definitely not
with
with
cucumber.
cucumber.
So let's check in with the folks
All right,
at home
sounds good.
and see where we're at, and we'll get ready. We're going to what's the next one?
The next one is Hermitage.
Hermitage. Oh, this is a favorite. So Doug Beltran is here. Hi, Doug. How are you? Thank you for joining us
Excellent.
today.
Cheers, Doug.
And that's it. We don't have any new comments, so thank you,
All
folks.
right.
If you have questions or comments, please post them.
I think they're all, drinking.
They must be
mead
drinking something.
Hanging out with people, which is
Absolutely.
great. That's
That's
really,
what not to be doing. For
That's-
sure.
that's-
as
That's
a
what you
weekend
should
party.
do with
I
wine.
mean, that's
Yeah.
what we enjoy doing.
That's what we're good.
So what are we doing next?
So next is Hermitage.
Hermitage.
And for those of you who don't know this, the reason we end up with a wine like Elderberry wine as it is.
I know
and
this.
it
I was
varies.
hoping you were going to talk about this.
Yeah. So one of the focuses that we've had here is to try to craft a really rich, complex, dry red wine, somewhat similar, or it ends up being somewhat similar to some of the blends that you find in Provence, in southern France, which have Syrah
We
and
also talked about
Grenache
some of the blends in Italy too.
and blends in Italy.
Characteristics of some of the Italian blends, and I
Yep.
don't know. I'm not as good at which ones, but
Yeah. Anyway, the wines that go into Hermitage include elderberry, blueberry, blackberry, and blackcurrant.
so you make all of these wines separately.
So I make them all separately,
I don't think that's enough.
and it's not enough. I thought I was doing a tasting somewhere. You pour one out.
No, we deserve more than an ounce.
Yeah,
We have lots of food to eat,
it's Labor Day, so
and all this food's got to go down with this one because the next wines aren't going to include any of these.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna
that's
have
not
chocolate.
necessarily true. Yeah.
So where I was going with this is each year, each vintage of a fruit is a little different. It grows differently. Mother
Right.
Nature is different. And so I may get fruit from the same Arkansas organic grower of elderberries, but each year is a little different. The rains came at different times, the sun was more intense or less intense, whatever it is, and the elderberries have a slightly different flavor profile. So in building Hermitage, I build these 4 wines separately and then spend a lot of time sipping lots and lots of wine.
That's a tough job. I know.
Trying to find a balance.
Yeah.
And every year that balance is a little bit different because the nature of the fruit is a little different. I've made the blackberry wine the same, I've made the elderberry wine the same, but it's different because the nature of the fruit is different.
Yeah.
So then the Hermitage blend is a little bit different.
So this is your Scotch then. You're like the Scotch master
Like a blended
blender.
Scotch.
No, just like a 16-year-old Lagavulin is a blend of a bunch of different vintages of years and barrel aging
The oldest
years.
of which is 16.
And then there's one guy that goes around and makes the 16 taste like the 16 ought to taste. So it's the same every year, but it's not the same ratio of
Yeah,
of
so that's
barrels.
different. That is different.
But you're saying that you're
trying,
changing.
they're trying to make Lagavulin 16 every year.
Yeah, but you're trying to make something that has
I'm
a
trying to make
flavor.
the best Hermitage every year.
So you're doing that and better. So you're doing better than a master blender.
I don't know
So
about that, but thank you. But,
Thank you.
but it's a totally different approach. And this Hermitage is different than the previous one
Right.
and the subsequent one.
They just keep getting better.
They changed because of that concept. But where I was going with this, even though you tried to derail me. a couple
I did
times,
derail you pretty good.
You did.
We
pretty
were
good,
getting
actually.
into Lagavulin.
You did.
which
You
you do
mentioned
like.
that, and yeah.
And I
I
thought
do
Bob
like
would
that.
just sort of go off on that.
You
tangent.
know, when eBay first come out and they were doing things, and I was
Now
looking
on
at online. No, I don't know why, because I drank a lot of Lagavulin 16
During the rise of
eBay
eBay.
came out, during the rise of eBay. I remember
Yes.
you and I were just getting
Right.
to know each other. You were selling stuff on eBay.
So are you. I know you told me about the shirt you sold.
Yeah, I was
This rock and
old
roll
Jethro
shirt
Tull
that was all
shirt. Yeah, or
torn
yes,
up.
it was a yes shirt from an early concert in the
got
70s.
hundreds of
I got
dollars
hundreds
for
of
it.
dollars for this old ratty T-shirt with a copy stain
That was a
on it.
great shirt, though.
It was a great shirt. It's gone now.
That's gone. I know.
I think I used the money to buy Lagavulin 16.
Sweet. Well, there you go.
And it was more than
It was
more than 16 years ago that I had that Lagavulin 16.
20 years ago.
Yet the Lagavulin 16 I had the other
Again,
night tastes
it's
the
exactly
same.
the same. Right.
And I don't blend like that.
You don't.
Which
I'm
means
not a
this
master
has-
blender.
This has nothing to
I'm
do
a
with
Hermit
Lagavulin
blender.
16.
Okay.
This has
So what
nothing
we've
to
determined
it
is
has a
not
lot to
eBay
do with
Lagavulin.
it because I drink Lagavulin 16. I don't look at eBay anymore.
Yeah, I'm not eBay.
So
for
this is a fascinating blend every year. And then, like you said before, after it goes in the bottle, it changes. I was quite disappointed with the 17 blend when I put it in because I was tasting the 15 when I was bottling the 17.
Sure.
I was not trying to make it the same as the previous Hermitage, but I
make
was
it better.
I was comparing.
We've determined that
I was trying to make it
your
better.
goal is to make it always
And I was
better.
quite disappointed. And now this drink's better than the 15.
Go
This
figure.
wine needs to age. This is one of your wines that needs to age. It drinks nice when we release it, but it's going to be better with time.
What was that,
This needs 8 to 10 years.
Penfolds.
Yeah, Grange.
Remember that Grange?
Yeah.
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 There's the story.
What
It's
is
a
that
great
story? I forget that.
It's a
How that
great
goes.
story. So Australia used to be like Napa in the early days.
Jug
Australia
wine.
used to make jug wine, fortified, or just sweet wine. So Australians in the 50s were used to very sweet wines, and that's what they thought they should make. But then this one winemaker went and studied in Burgundy, in Bordeaux. Actually, it was Bordeaux. It wasn't Burgundy. He studied in Bordeaux and learned about the techniques they were using to make some of those grapes into really fine wines. And he went back to his winemaker, he was a winemaker for one of the larger producers, Penfolds, of this jug wine or sweet wine. And he convinced his bosses to let him experiment with some dry, big, full-bodied reds like a Burgundy, or Bordeaux, like a Bordeaux style.
Using Shiraz a lot.
Yeah,
Shiraz grapes.
Syrah and although Syrah is not a Bordeaux blend, so I'm not sure the connection.
But it
there,
was a lot of Syrah because that's what they grew a lot.
because they
there.
grew that. Yeah, but he was trying to make a bigger, drier style, full-bodied red, and year after year after year he failed. And he knew he failed because he would submit his wines to the wine competitions around Australia.
And they were too young.
Wine competition after wine competition would just fail him. He would just either give him no medals at all or he'd get a bronze if he was lucky. And finally the owners said, you need to stop this craziness. We need to make our wines.
We're going bankrupt.
Well, he ignored them. And he kept a stash in the back corner of barrel-aged wines and kept working this category for himself in the winery. And today, he is credited for he's the father of Australian wine. It was finally discovered that what he was doing was really reshaping what Australia had to offer the world. And when people finally accepted the change that he was promoting, they jumped on the bandwagon in big time. And over the last 50 years, Australian wines have stepped up to become, yet another leader in some
It's like Napa.
It's
Because
like Napa.
Napa
Yeah.
went through that transformation under Mondavi. And so this guy made that transformation.
So this wine was called the Grange,
Yep.
and I don't know where the origins of that name comes from, but it's a Penfolds wine, and it is one of the most famous wines in the world. It is certainly by far the most famous wine in Australia, and good luck if you can afford one because
They're expensive,
they're
right?
really expensive. It's like buying a Burgundy,
Yeah.
Grand Cru Burgundy. Good luck trying
Yeah.
to buy one of those, but nonetheless. It does remind me of your story more than anything else because you're doing exactly the same thing. We've submitted some of
These
your
do
wines
change. Oh, I know.
to
And
some of the
people are like-
local
people are like,
competitions, right?
this
And
is the-
they drink your wines and they go, "What is this?" They don't know what it is. So that you either don't win a medal at all or you don't even get
Right,
recognized.
because this has to go
What
into
to
the
do
fruit
with it.
category.
Yeah.
So it's
a
other
fruit
people
wine.
that are making a blackberry blueberry blend, and they make a sweeter, fresh,
Yeah.
fruit forward blend.
Yeah,
And
that's what you
people
drink.
love it. And then they have this, and they're like,
What is this?
"What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
It's
So
like
it's-
wine. Yuck. Half-hour wine, Judge. Seriously.
No, but you're absolutely right. This wine has been entered into New England wine competitions a bunch of times, and it doesn't ever fare well, which I'm glad about because
It's distinctive that way.
98% of wines made in New England from fruit other than grapes are made sweet. It's a different category. It's a different classification.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with those wines, but they're not this wine. And nobody's making this wine. So there's nobody out to compete against. There's nobody out there doing this. Well, there's a few more people now.
It's growing.
It's growing.
It's growing.
but it's still a very small percentage, and it's just
Joe
like
Grange. Fiola took lots of notes when he
I
was
know,
here.
I
He's going
know.
to start pumping this stuff.
So,
out.
but it's a small group of people.
Yeah,
that really
bring it
make
on.
this style wine.
More people should do this.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's perfect. It would be great. I mean, if we could inspire 100 wineries to make wine like
Because
this, we would get
absolutely, because you know
the
what
world
most,
would get so much great wine.
Do you know what most New England
learn
winemakers
lots
do?
of things.
they import grapes from somewhere else.
Right.
The
Right.
fruit they're making wine with doesn't even grow here in New England, which, that's fine. I'm not going to knock those wineries. They're making nice products
Sure.
and they're selling it and people are enjoying it. But how cool is it that we're making wine from the products that grow here and grow well here?
Right.
And even hybrid grapes will grow well here, but they don't like to. You got to spray the hell out of them.
They're
It's too
humans.
humid.
Humans forced that to happen.
We forced it.
We
yeah.
forced it.
So
Wild blueberries are wild
Wild
blueberries. They're going to
blueberries.
grow there.
We love it here.
They grew there before humans existed. They're going to grow there after
so
humans.
we should make wine from wild
So we
blueberries.
should make wine from wild blueberries.
And elderberries.
And elderberries.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers to the things that grow here.
Yes, that's what it's all about. There are hundreds, thousands of elderberry bushes all over this area. There's 20 or 30
I
spots.
see them everywhere.
on the map.
Ever since
They're all
you
over
taught
the
me
place.
about elderberries, I see them everywhere. I'm going to have a little more because we've got a couple of things I want to try with this food-wise
All right.
before we go on.
I've been running
And then
through
we're
these, and
going
it's
to the
really
dessert.
this.
How's it go with the
The
cheese?
foods have been going pretty well. It's still the foods tend to bring out sort of the sour note in the wine.
Right. These are softer, rounder cheeses
Yeah.
and flavors, and these are bitier, So
Right.
that's why I say
That's I think
Pasta.
the goat cheese.
goat cheese. Yeah.
Well, the goat cheese has that nice earthy component that goat cheese has,
And that tang.
and the tang,
Wow, the
which is elderberry.
That was the nicest balance with cheddar so far.
The mild cheddar.
This one
I
here.
had it with the sharper one. The sharp was a little too sharp.
I'll try that. Of all the ones you've had so far, the cheddar's been best with this one.
Did you try the goat cheese with it?
No,
Forget the mozzarella, I'm sure.
forget
I
the
tried the
mozzarella.
mozzarella. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's just buries it. It's too
It's
soft.
funny because the goat cheese is just as soft and gentle as the
It's
mozzarella,
got a tang.
but it has a completely different
It's got
relationship
that
to the wine.
acidic tang that comes
That's how
from
it is.
it.
Yeah. And a unique flavor.
Oh yeah,
And it goes great with this
and it
wine.
goes great. It goes great with this wine.
Yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
going to try
goat
the
cheese.
brie.
Yeah,
Not gonna work.
I tried the
Right.
drink. No, brie didn't go.
But some of these things might go good with the next one, in addition to the chocolate.
Oh, what is that?
So let me go check with the audience
All
and
right.
see how we're doing, and then we'll go on to the next wine. So let's see who we got here. Gary says my fave. I don't know what he's referring to. Maybe Hermitage. We were just talking about Hermitage. I think that's probably it. And
Oh, great.
Greg's here. And you had me at
Had me at
Lagavulin.
Lagavulin too, my friend.
We have no prejudices against any of the alcohols, just so you know. It's not, the world isn't just all about wine. There's lots of other wonderful things in the world, right?
Like Lagavulin.
Like Lagavulin, for sure. And Lagavulin 16 is
You remember when I used to, a lot of people in their emails have a cheers at the end or sincerely
And you
or
used to have
good day
Lagavulin, yeah.
or whatever. And so I used my sign off as Lagavulin.
Yeah.
That was my cheers.
Right.
And
Right.
I used to get replies. Oh, thank you, Mr. Lagavulin.
I remember that.
Do you remember that? And you made the suggestion at one point, you're like, Ken, people don't really
No.
follow the connection here. They're getting confused by your sign off as Lagavulin.
That's a marketing guy.
I know, no,
Sorry.
you're right. I changed it now to Lefroy.
To Lefroy. Yeah, because everybody knows about Lefroy.
So actually, it truth be told, we're digressing again, but
What?
we've already done that. So Lagavulin 16 and Lefroy 18 have been longtime favorites of mine in the world of
I
Scotch.
can't get.
Sadly,
Yeah, Lefroy 18
Lefroy
is
18 is gone. It's gone, and I haven't found.
Well, they went back
the
to
Lefroy.
16, I think.
I know, but I haven't found the replacement to the 18.
The 10 is pretty good.
And the 10's
It's-
great.
the 10 is good, but it's
Yeah.
not the 18.
It's
But
not the
anyway,
18. The
we've
18 would
really digressed.
I looked when I was down in Atlanta, helping my mom out, and we went to a liquor store afterwards, buy some stuff, and I looked. There was no Lefroy 18, of course,
No, it's gone.
and
That's gone.
Lagavulin 16 there was $120.
Oh, ouch.
New Hampshire here, it's still
Yeah,
in the
buy your liquor in
60, 70.
Buy your liquor here in New Hampshire, everybody.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's so much less expensive.
It's cheaper here than it is in Scotland.
Tracy, I don't know how to pronounce it. How would you pronounce that name? Dubuque?
Dubuque.
Dubuque. Tracy Dubuque has joined us.
We're live watching this. They're right behind us. So maybe we can get that. So how do we pronounce your last name?
Dubuque.
All right,
They're here live. We have a live audience.
Excellent.
That's great. Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
And you're comparing some food with the wine? Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
Our live participating
Greg,
audience.
yeah.
It's a new step of audience. Yeah.
Greg points out that derailment is what is so special about these videos.
Right.
We do like to derail.
We do derail.
Except when we were around the backside of the lake on the triple. It wasn't actually
We
a
did
derailment.
derail.
It was,
Gary.
we kind of got derailed because we split one of the
Blew
gears.
the gear right in
Yeah, we ripped that
multiple
gear off the
parts on the
bicycle,
highway.
yeah. That's because we're so powerful.
We are so
It's
powerful.
nothing to do with,
Well, we had to move a lot of mass.
hauling 650 pounds up a steep hill, and the little poor bicycle just gave up.
Could
But,
I trouble you to move your carcass around the corner and grab 3
My carcass.
dessert, your
Dessert ones.
glasses?
Yes. Okay. Yes,
For
sir.
this, I forgot to get those. Sorry. So we're going to open up.
Melange.
Now, which vintage did you grab? Oh, you grabbed the 12. Oh, I thought you would just grab our current vintage. But you grabbed a 12.
What? You got an old one?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh,
That's right.
Bob.
We're drinking a 12.
So we got our library wines on the main shelf now,
I think
right?
we do,
huh?
yeah.
I guess
I
so.
hope you were lucky enough to buy a Melange this weekend because we got a
Yes,
12.
because there's a 12. So it goes at time. So this is even more special than I thought we were going to do with
I know.
the.
Nothing but the best here.
This
It was
is this,
subliminally planned.
well,
subconsciously
so
planned.
folks, this was a session about elderberry, and our current vintage of Melange has some elderberries that were wild foraged by our friend Robert
Is
down
this
in
not?
Tilton. This has elderberries
have
as well.
elderberry.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But I thought we'd be drinking the 17, the current one, and I
I'm
double checked
excited.
and I
We're
looked back
drinking
on
the
it.
12.
But the 12 was, we knew after the fact, because again, we were getting fruit from around the area.
12. Wait a minute.
12. Yes,
That's
we
12?
That's 9 years old.
That's before this. None of this
That's
existed.
before this.
way before that.
Everything
Yeah.
is before this.
What, is that like a there? It's like an anti-there?
No, there wasn't
Is it
even
this?
This is before
is
this. This is before there was even a there.
Is it before
This is
that?
before there. This is
Yeah.
before that.
And certainly before that. Wow.
So this was the first
Wow.
time.
Gotta break out the
This is
chocolate.
the first time I made a wine called Melange.
This is your best Melange ever.
And
Glad we're
I
drinking
think it was the best.
And anybody
ever.
who bought Melange this weekend, lucky you, because you got the best one ever.
So our current Melange is made in 2017, and it's a very nice Melange.
Yeah.
And we have very special, more expensive 2012 Melange. That was loud. For our library wine sales. And somehow they got mixed up on the rack. So that if you come in to Hermit Woods and buy Melange, you're getting the 2012 maybe.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. We're gonna go clarify that.
I'll
We're
try
gonna fix
that
that. So this was a very special vintage. It was kind of a, they take all the leftover stuff. I was collecting fruit from all sorts of different places and combining them. This had some choke cherries off of a stone wall at Greg Mee's house. Maya and I crossed the street and harvested them. We were over visiting him for some other reason, and he said, I got choke cherries if you want them, and all sorts of stuff in it.
Oh, this is so good.
Wow, it's holding up beautifully. It smells fresh.
So this is
and spicy and
9 years old?
9 years old.
It is just wonderful.
Got to be kidding.
I'm going to have some chocolate with it.
Well, I don't understand, what the problem is here, because this is,
There's no problem.
This is fantastic. Is this the last bottle to all known humanity?
I don't know. I have to go downstairs.
There's a bunch of them on the rack. It's really lively.
Well, there was
It's
a bunch on the
tangly.
rack.
It's tingly. It's very lively.
So this is a library wine.
Yeah. Good, 9 years old.
So this is a mellow mel. So this is a mead.
Oh, this is a mead.
This was honey-based
No, honestly,
wine.
I had
This was made
I had
on our
no
second year of operation.
I
as
had
a
no
business.
idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a very small amount. All local, all organic, all whole, honey, blueberries, elderberries, blackberries, and black currants. Cold fermentation, port-like, higher alcohol wine, great dessert, treat, complex and engaging. We hope our wines bring you the same enjoyment we've had in making them. I love that phrase. That was early on.
Really, look at our
created
marketing. Cheers, gentlemen, to a
Cheers.
9-year-old wine from the early days of our winemaking. And this is phenomenal, and this is still going to get better. We need to, if there's anything left of this, we need to save it
You
for
don't have
another
any?
5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You need to put some in your. I think there's a little bit more up in the warehouse, in the library.
Fantastic.
So, but the thing is that the 2017, you buy 10 cases of that tomorrow online, and then put it in your cellar
And it'll be like this in 10 years.
for the next 20 years or so. Open up a bottle a year.
It's transforming too. It's
This is higher alcohol too, right?
yeah,
18%, thereabouts.
thereabouts.
Thereabouts. I would say it's.
I
Probably,
have an Abulometer now, so
Yeah.
I can determine that.
Well,
I would say it's less than 18.
I'm not gonna, I don't want to waste the
it
wine.
says 18. It's been
Well,
saying that for
it's been saying
9
that,
years.
right,
I think I'm just
exactly.
going to go with it.
It could be
try a little
17. It
bit
could be
of
17.5.
I'm going to try it with some different things because it clearly goes well with chocolate. I'm going to try it with some sharp cheddar.
I love the earthy spice. It's very
Yeah.
Goes
Those are
excellent with cheddar.
very complex. I bet this would go with a really well-aged crystalline Parmesan.
Oh.
A spicy sausage? No way.
Surprising, but I'm going to guess
Can
it
you
might
try it?
work.
I don't know.
Yeah, it might work. I'm going to go with cheddar. I'm
Yeah.
talking with my mouth full.
So that's good. I mean, it's a chocolate and a cheese pairing.
There's a
So-
lot of black currant. These black currants we got from that guy in Vermont. Remember going to his place?
Yes.
We crossed over
He's
the
English
river.
guy.
We went,
He had
from
a
England.
super cool tractor that I think he brought from England.
He brought it from England.
I don't know. Yeah.
He created this
Yeah.
double-armed harvesting thing
Yeah.
for his black currant.
Yeah, and he was
We
organic.
walked out.
Yeah.
We went past his house.
Yeah.
We turned around because we knew we were in the right vicinity. There's an old swing set with no swings on it. An old screen door open,
Yeah.
flapping in the wind.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
walk
No,
over
they were
there
living-
through all these weeds.
They were living the
and
dream,
there's
yeah.
his wife in the kitchen doing something.
Yeah.
And
Canning
he's
something.
back out in the fields.
Yeah.
You'll find him.
Yeah.
And we're like, where? So we walk out past the old barn. It's the only
Yeah, yeah.
part that's mowed.
Yeah.
Everything else is overgrown with weeds.
Yeah. No, it's organic.
And we walk
yeah.
out on this field, and there are wildflowers everywhere. And there are these rows of these black currants growing.
And this guy was from England, right?
And this guy came over from England. He created this device, brought his tractor over, and he grew the most incredible black currants ever. Those went into this wine. And the next
Yeah.
year,
He had a crop
unfortunately, it was a crop failure.
Yeah.
He ended up taking them back. He could make jam out of them,
Yep.
but they were inappropriate for wine.
Yep.
They just didn't ripen very well.
No.
Wine's a very agricultural-based product.
Right.
We're so used to just going to the supermarket and buying, that nice labeled Merlot
It's
or whatever.
Right.
And you're totally separated from what it's all about that goes into it. It's really, it's an amazing process to go from everything that's taking place in the biosphere to actually grow this fruit and all the microbes that are involved with that. And then
All of the
foster
decisions
the
you have to make
transformation.
to transform it.
To transform.
Yeah, which is different every year,
They're different every
depending
year.
on the fruit. So I've sort of been like, while you've been chatting, I've been crash coursing.
And
amongst
when
the
does
food.
any of it work?
You were absolutely right. The meat does not work at all, nor does the
Soft cheeses.
the soft cheese. Actually,
Did you try the goat?
I tried the goat, not so great, but the this
Horseradish?
actually wasn't too bad. Yeah,
I think that has some parm in it. I
How
think
about
it's
the
a parm
cucumber?
horseradish.
I haven't tried that. I'll tell you in a second. I'm going to guess no.
I'm gonna guess no also. I
The sharp
I,
cheddar.
I had this with the chocolate, and the chocolate is nice with this, but I like this on its own.
Yeah.
I like it on its own too, but I
Yeah,
think the
yeah.
chocolate goes really well.
I think the sharp
And
cheddar.
really
the
good
sharp
chocolate.
cheddar goes really
The sharp
nice
cheddar
too.
for me is the best thing.
You know what Geraldine and I have started to do more and more is instead of having cheese before dinner, we've been having cheese after dinner.
Dessert.
Cheese is a
Gotta love that.
really wonderful
Yeah, it is.
dessert. The
It is
French
wonderful.
knew this all.
I always did that with my dad because he learned that spending time in Italy.
It's so much better. Cheese for dessert.
Cheese for dessert. It is really a great
I'm gonna
dessert.
see
It's
how
almost
the-
like a digestive type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Coating your mouth, coating your stomach. It's really great.
Mm.
Especially very distinctive. Really well-aged Parmesan has got this crystalline character to it. What do you? No way. Really?
Try
The
it.
brie?
Try it.
No way.
I like the brie with it. Yeah.
All right, we're going in, Chuck.
You tell me if I'm wrong. While you do
Well, you
all
can't
the-
be wrong. If it works for you, it works for you.
No, it works for me.
There's no
But
wrong.
but it's definitely if all three of you
This
decide
brie
it's
is
the same.
really incredible. Just what's interesting is the brie is better coming off of a sip of this melange. I'll say that right now. There's an earthy, mushroomy
Yeah.
character to this brie that's really incredible.
Yeah. No, brie works.
I
My
like it.
my
It's
feeling
not
on
the best on the plate, but it worked.
No, it was good.
Well, that works, Bob.
My issue with the brie is
That
that
definitely works. It's
It
that
does work,
earthy.
for
It's
sure.
that mushroom earthy
exactly.
part that works perfect. The black currants or whatever. That spicy
I still think chocolate.
chocolate
cheddar.
Cheddar was pretty good too. I have to admit.
I'm cheddar. The brie was so shockingly good with it. And my issue with the brie is that brie is also an aged product that has a perfect time and space when it's actually at its right, the nuttiness and the
gooey.
flavors. Well, no, it's an aging. It's an
sure.
art,
Yep.
right? And it's a fermentation, right? I mean, you have all the stuff on the outside and it dries and it ages and all that sort of stuff. To me, that this brie is just a little bit on the green side. So I think that another month or whatever it is that they do in Breland to make it better would make it more.
Breland. Have you been to Breland?
I haven't
been there.
Can't wait to go though.
We got to go to Breland.
Breland.
Let's bring some along.
Our next
to Breland. Wow,
show will
have
be-
you gone to Breland? I know you've
listening-
gone to France quite a few times. I didn't know there was
He
such a place
flies
called
all over the
Breland.
world.
Yes.
Of course he's
Okay,
been to
all right,
Breland.
so-
I've never seen that. You see people fly
they
to
have
Chicago,
rides.
they fly to
No,
Paris.
no,
but I
can
never
you
knew
get
they
buddy
flew to
passes to
Breland.
You can, and they have
Where's
rides.
Breland?
They have a big piece of cheese that swirls around, and you get a ride, and you go up and around, and then you go through the brie forest.
The brie
you guys haven't heard of
forest?
this? Yeah, all the trees
Wow.
have brie.
How much have we poured? poured.
Enough to get into Breland, I guess.
We must at an hour and a half.
We
yet?
are at an hour and a half.
Yeah,
No way.
time. We're over
Yeah,
5 minutes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And actually, interestingly, as he was talking about Breland, I found that the brie does go actually better with this than chocolate.
I think so.
I think it does.
I think so.
It does.
Yeah.
Because I had the brie and then I went right into the chocolate. And I like the chocolate with it, but
chocolate's
it's
really
really
nice.
strong.
But the brie is,
It blends better with it.
it'd be like truffles would
So-
probably go well with it.
Yeah.
Too. That's sort of earthy.
So these are the only 5 products that we have elderberry in at the winery currently. Not currants, currently.
I do like currants. We do a
believe
currant
so,
show?
yes. Actually, we have both a 12 and a 17 of Melange.
Okay,
that have
so we
elderberry.
have a couple different, yeah. We have a 12 on the shelf. Hurry, because it's coming off.
We're gonna go look.
Yeah.
We're gonna go
In
look
5
right when we're done
minutes.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Go check that out.
this has been our episode on elderberries. I hope you have. I'm going to switch over here. I hope you've enjoyed.
There's been no derailments, of
No.
course. We would never do that.
Let's see if we before we go. Any last comments? Gary had to leave. Nice to see you, Gary. And Bob, 18 Lefroy, $3.99 to start. It's out there.
Oh, really?
Gee, thanks, Gary.
Wow.
Thanks, Greg. I'm sorry.
Greg, do you know that was, $60 in the state liquor store just a couple years ago?
Yeah, I know. it's
$60.
crazy.
I mean,
Well, but
$3.99.
if you're paying $3.99, it's because it's
on
on the next line of market. This is like a secondary.
You
seller,
know that
so-
from the antique.
Yeah,
market.
exactly. So, and he wants to party with him. I don't know who he wants to party with, but let us know.
Somebody in Breland.
Somebody in Breland. Breland. Gotta love it.
No, I can't believe nobody's heard of it.
No one's heard of it but you, Chuck. Now all of us have heard of it.
You're gonna, next time there's tickets available to Breland, please
right.
let us know. 'Cause-
Actually, for a
All right.
bottle of Lafroig 18, you can go to Breland.
Absolutely, yeah.
Chuck will fly you out.
Chuck
Chuck will fly you to Breland.
personally. So we've come to another end of a fun afternoon Monday with all of you.
You
Thank
got the
so
day
much.
right.
You got the what?
Monday.
You got the day right.
always Monday.
I was worried there. You might be.
All these wines. It's harder and harder to get through these episodes. So thank you everybody for joining us. I hope you join us again next week for, I have no
Something.
idea what, something. We're going to
Something.
be talking about
With
something
no derailment.
at 5:30 next Monday. Hope you can join us. It's been wonderful having you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. So let's sign off. Thank you very
All right.
much. Have a good evening.
Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.